Hello everyone, I welcome you to today's lecture. Today our focus is on stress and stress management. At the end of the lecture, we are going to look at what the term stress means. We will also look at the types of stress, the sources of stress, as well as the causes of stress. We will conclude with how to manage stress. So let's get ready for the lecture. So let's begin with the lecture. We are going to begin with the term stress. We are going to look at what the term stress means. So the question is, what is stress? When we talk about stress, it is often described as a feeling of being worried, tense, or overloaded. It can also be the way human beings react to events, situations, or problems that they find themselves in. Stress is part of our human lives. It is part of our daily activities as human beings. At one point in time or at a point in your life, you are susceptible to be stressed out. Sometimes stress can motivate you to complete a task quickly and on time. At other times, it can encourage you to get something going. But sometimes too, stress can be harmful to your health. It can be harmful to your health. As human beings, we react differently to stress. Some react positively to stress and others react negatively. In situations where people react positively to stress, it energizes them to get more focused and to get a task they have set for themselves finished. On the other hand, when you react negatively to stress, you are prone to feel distressed and even go to the extent of feeling depressed. Most of the times, what really happens is that people react negatively to stress, and so they often find themselves in a situation of being distressed. The term where a person reacts negatively to stress is referred to as distress. On the other hand, is referred to as distress. On the other hand, in situations where people react positively to stress, it is referred to as eustress. E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. Eustress. Between these two situations, the one which usually prevails or predominates is the stress. This is because people tend to react negatively to stress. Let's look at the types of stress. Generally, there are two types of stress. The first one is acute stress, and the second one is chronic stress. So what is acute stress? Acute stress is the most common type of stress we find among humans. It deals with the pressures that people suffer about events that is happening immediately or happening within a very short period of time. It is also concerned with pressures that people suffer as a result of something that happened not long ago. That is to say, pressures that come with recent events. Acute stress is sometimes very brief, and it is specific to certain demands and pressures. For instance, you have a deadline, you have an exams to write, you haven't learned much, you have lots of books to read, articles to read, and then you feel pressured to complete all of these readings before the examination time. So you go through that stress at that stage in your life. You have an assignment, there's a deadline for you to complete. Once you submit the assignment, you do away with that stress, like you have come out of that situation, and so the pressure that comes with it is off, and that forms part of acute stress. It is brief, it doesn't last for long, it comes as a result of events that are yet to happen or something that just happened not long ago. Now, let's look at the second type of stress, which is chronic stress. Chronic stress involves ongoing demands, pressure and worries that seem to never come to an end. So for instance, you are going through a certain problem at home. You try to find solution to it, but the problem never ceases to be resolved. It goes on for weeks, months, and sometimes even years. And because the problem prolongs, the pressures that come with the problem continues to persist. Sometimes the persistent nature of the problem makes you even forget that you are even stressed at a particular point in time. Chronic stress can be very harmful to a person's health. This is because the person continuously finds him or herself in a state of worry, so much pressure, feeling overloaded and tense. Chronic stress, as we have seen, can have negative effects on the health of people, on relationships, on their state of mind, and even on how they work or during their working activities. Let's look at the sources of stress. Where do we get stress from? Where does stress come from? Basically, there are 4 sources of stress: the social, the environment, psychological, and then thoughts. Each of these stresses or each of these sources of stress are triggered by a number of stresses. When we say stressor, we are referring to anything that causes or increases stress. Anything that causes or increases stress is referred to as stressor or a stressor. Now let's look at the environment. The environment we find ourselves in poses some stress to people. The environment can bombard you with intense and competing demands, and people have to adjust to these demands. Some of the stresses according to the environment includes the weather. Sometimes the weather that people find themselves in. Is it so hot? Is it too cold? How are you adjusting yourself to the heat? Or how are you adjusting yourself to the cold? You become so stressed, become so worried. Sometimes noise in a neighborhood. You want to have some sleep. Somebody is playing loud noise or loud music just at the back of your house, and you can't deal with the noise. It poses stress to you. It puts so much pressure on you, and then you get stressed as a result of that. There's crowding, there's pollution, there's traffic. Traffic, especially in the cities, is one of the major stresses the environment bombards people with. You need to get to work at a certain time, and then you find yourself in a very huge traffic. You are coming back from work, you are so tired, you want to get home and relax, and then you find yourself in a huge traffic. And then crime. If the area you are living in is highly prone to crimes, you can't even sleep well at night. You don't even feel safe going to work and then leaving your house behind, because there's the possibility that something will happen in your absence. When you are working in your environment or in your area, you don't feel safe. And that also puts people into very severe states of stress. The second source of stress is the social stressor. It's what is referred to as the social stressor. The social stressor arises from multiple of stresses, and it arises from the demands of the different roles that we play in our society. So for instance, you are a father. You play the role of a father. You play the role of a husband. You are the manager, or you are the director or the secretary in your office. So you have people you are working with. And all of these different roles that you are playing comes with its own responsibilities and demands. And you are required to fulfill and complete each and every one of these demands, and to do it well. Your wife has her own demands, your children have their own demands, your boss have her own demands, your neighbors, and all of that poses stress to people. Deadlines, financial problems, unemployment. You have a presentation, you are so tense, you are so anxious, probably you are not even well prepared for it. It puts so much pressure on you, and then you get stressed out. Loss of a loved one, you are going through a divorce, parenting, all of these social activities poses stress to people. The third one is physiological. The third source of stress is physiological stressor. This usually has to do with the situations and the circumstances affecting our body. Examples include rapid growth of adolescence, when you are moving from childhood to adolescence, the things that come with that period or that age in your growth, when you are nearing menopause, illness or sicknesses, pregnancy, giving birth, breastfeeding, gaining weight as a result of giving birth, and then desire to even lose weight, and probably all your efforts is not yielding the needed results you are expecting. Sleep disturbances, accidents, all of these physiological situations and circumstances also causes stress to people. The last one is thoughts stressor. The fourth and the final one is thoughts stressor. This usually deals with our state of mind, how we think, how our minds react to situations and events, how difficult something is, how unpleasant something may be. So you have a course you are studying. Immediately you see the course outline, your mind tells you that this is going to be a very difficult course. And the thoughts of the course being difficult alone puts so much pressure on you and puts you in a state of stress. There is something ongoing in your environment. It seems so unpleasant to you. The sight of that thing, your mind communicates to you that that is an unpleasant thing. And then it also puts pressure on you. As students, we go through a number of situations, and these situations pose stress to us. So let's look at some of the causes of stress, especially for students. The first on the list is academic. Yes, our academic work. The desire to study, to get good grades, and to pass. It puts pressure on students. Dating, you are in a relationship. Probably at the beginning you are enjoying the relationship. Later on you call, he or she doesn't pick up. He sees you and he ignores you, and then you are wondering, is he still interested in me? Is he saying somebody else? And then you find yourself in a state of despair and you get stressed out. There is peer pressure, the desire to be like your friend, the desire to do what everybody is doing. And the other way around is when you don't want to do something and then your friends are coercing you to participate in whatever they are doing. It also poses stress to students. Financial problems. A lot of students go through it. You don't have the money to pay your fees. You haven't completed the payment of your fees. Exams is approaching. There is a notice that if you don't pay your fees, you are not going to be allowed to write your exams, and you have no idea where you are going to get the money to pay your fees. You don't have money to buy your books, to pay for your hostel, food. All of these things also poses some stress to students. Time management. You have a lot to study, but the time seems not to be enough for you. How are you going to prepare for life after graduation? You are in your final year. You are looking at life outside the university campus, and sometimes you get afraid of what lies ahead after graduation, and that also causes stress to students. Knowing all these things that causes stress to students, our final topic is, as a student, how are you going to manage the stress, or how are you going to manage these situations so you can either react positively to it and not negatively and overcome stress? The first thing is for you to exercise. Exercising does not only allow you to burn some calories, it also relaxes your mind, and it also allows you to burn off some stress. Sometimes exercise helps you to release tension and anxiety. The second one is for you to relax your mind and body. Take a break. You've studied for so long. Probably you are still not understanding what you are studying. You want to understand the concept. You are studying and it seems not to stick. You are getting worked up about it. Take a break. Relax. Go watch a movie. Go listen to music. Take a stroll around campus for some few minutes, and then you come back to continue with your activity. Sometimes you need to take a break from studies. Not so much, but sometimes it becomes, when you feel so pressured and so stressed, you need to take a break, relax your mind and body so that you get rejuvenated to continue with your studies. You need to have enough sleep. Don't play games for so long. Don't go out chilling and staying out nights for so long. Make sure you get your 7 to 8 hours sleep every day. It helps relieve you of all the pressures that the academic environment poses to you. You need to have healthy relationships. If you are with a person, a friend, and the friendship is not a healthy one, you stay away from it. If it's a friendship that always comes with issues, this person said this person said that, and you're always moving from one place to the other, explaining your side of the story, it is not a healthy relationship. It's not a healthy friendship. You move away from it so that you can have your peace of mind to concentrate on your studies. Time management. Create a schedule. If you have the problem of time management, have a schedule. Draw your own timetable, and then be disciplined enough to stick to it. So you have 5 days in a week. You have your weekends. At your own comfort, you draw your own timetable. Monday, after lectures, I'm going to sleep for about 2 hours. Afterwards, I'm going to study this subject. I'm going to study this subject. I'm going to do my assignment. Draw the schedule for yourself, and that will help you to manage your time wisely. Also have a budget, especially if you are someone who doesn't have enough money to spend. Have a budget for yourself so that you can spend within your means. And the last thing is for you to eat healthily. Your fruits, you eat them. Eat healthy and nutritious meals. As students, we can either react positively to situations so that we get energized to complete our task, or we can react negatively. But I encourage you all to try your best to react positively to the stresses that we are surrounded with. Channel your time more to your studies and learn how to overcome your stresses. So this brings us to the end of today's lecture. We have looked at what stress is. We have also looked at the types of stress, that is acute and chronic stress. We have looked at the sources of stress, and we mentioned 4 sources: physiological, social, environment, and our thoughts. We have also looked at the causes of stress, especially for students, academic cause, relationship, the financial problems, problem with time management, and then we have concluded the lecture with how to manage stress as students. We said you should manage your time wisely by creating a schedule for yourself. You should exercise, take a break from your studies, relax your mind and body, have enough time to sleep, engage yourself in healthy relationships, discard the relationships that put you into so much stress and put so much pressure on you. Have a budget for yourself. And then lastly, eat healthily. Thank you very much. We will meet again for the next lecture.